Madam Speaker. I think, Madam Speaker, just for clarity, I think I have to speak to the motion and the budget as a whole at this time. I can't just talk about my, okay. So, so my motion here is trying to please ask my councillor colleagues here to bring back the community connection space. And I really want to say this is not the same as the downtown safety partnership. And I wish I could have brought you to the space so you could have seen and you could really understand the different levels of training that the community connectors go through and the staffing that is required to manage the library. You know what? These are my community members that go there, mainly. I mean, it is a citywide facility, but Councillor Rowlands and I are the councillors, and we heard over and over again when that library was closed due to safety concerns, due to, you know, to all the issues that we were seeing. When we finally put that in the community connectors in that space, things shifted and changed. So much so that now other cities are looking to Winnipeg and adopting this model. And I just can't understand in my brain why we would stop something that is working when this whole budget is to talk about safety within our downtown. And I want to make it clear that I've been very, very clear that we need to make sure our downtown is safe regardless if you're north of Portage or if you're south of Portage. And that people belong in both spaces. And that this isn't a push out to the north of Portage. Because this is a library that everybody should be able to be welcomed in. This is a public space, public amenity that has worked, and it's really frustrating in a $1.4 billion budget. We can't find $650,000. I have supported libraries opening in other areas because I think it's a public good. I think it's one of our core services that we need to be providing. But at the same time, we are seeing the staff is leaving and going to these other libraries. And now people say, no, that's not how it works. And we can all debate that. But that's what it feels like for our community. You had over and over and over again, people coming in delegations, people writing about the concerns over this. The biggest thing in this budget has been this, and for $650,000, and we haven't added it into the budget. And I can't understand it. This budget is really about transparency, and it goes back to the very basic thing of the strong mayor model. And I've been on both sides, so I understand it. But what's happening here is that with the lack of transparency, we're not getting the information that we need. So now when I go to community services, where I used to be able to ask about the police budget, I used to be able to ask about general counsel of community centers. We don't do that anymore. It's all at EPC. So the people that aren't on EPC have a lack of information. We want to talk about the budget process. Oh my God, we were all in an uproar when we had EPC +2. Remember that? There's nobody has enough information. At least we had 8 people with information. Now we're down to 3 on a budget working group from straight to back that don't have all the information. Then when we ask for a council seminar on police stuff, I get nothing. And we're supposed to have a budget on this, on police issues, on police funding. We don't have a CAO yet, which is a major issue. And I love Sherwood to death. He's been nothing but good to me. But I have an issue with a clerk that is supposed to be neutral as the head of our CAO in a very political job connected with the mayor. That's not healthy governance, and that's not a model we should be wanting for our city. When we have councillors that are having to FIPA to get information, We have a governance issue here at City Hall. When we have community members that have come in an outwar for $650,000 and we can't find the funding, and many of you probably have never even been in the space and probably have never understood really the dynamics of what's going on there. And you have two councillors saying you need it. It's very, very frustrating. Like, we're having the lack of information that's going on here is a concern. Keeping us uneducated so we can't ask the right questions is a concern. And so that's how I'm feeling with this budget. We talked about, the mayor talked about putting money into the youth program. That's all going downtown. Why? But I can tell you right now, my community centers are closed. You know why they're closed? Because we're not funding them. They barely have enough money to hire caretakers. If you got a nice fancy one and you got a proper gym, you can rent it out. But now our community centers are fighting between having open gym space for our youth, which we know youth crime is up, which is a big prevention thing. So we know we should be getting our youth involved in activities. Youth crime is up. But community centers are fighting for the access because they have to rent out the space to keep the doors open to, people that are playing basketball. So it is priorities to me. This budget is priorities to me, and I'm not seeing the vision here. And I really think that we have a problem if we're thinking that this is getting any better. And I know Councillor Lukes has been on this, and yeah, I was on the other side of it. I'm part of the problem. But the strong male model is not serving the needs of my community. It's not. And you can just tell that when you have so many people that have voiced their concerns, and we're not even looking about increasing the budget for $650,000 in a $1.2 billion budget. And I hear people saying, oh, the downtown safety partnership. Well, if the downtown safety partnerships want more jobs, I can tell you, please send them to me. I can give them more jobs. I've got lots in the West End that needs help. I don't want to be pushing people out, and I don't want an equity lens based on where they live or where they work in our downtown. And that's critical for me. And when you're saying the downtown safety partnership should be doing that, I gotta question that. This is a community group that does really great things. They're making the community feel welcomed in that space, which everyone should feel welcome. And it is a library service, and if you just would have gone down and seen, you would have seen it for yourself. New immigrants, young families, people that have come to Canada that don't speak English very well. They were helping them all in this space. And yes, they're also helping some of our most vulnerable members that at times needed a little extra supports. And you know what? That was a safe space to provide it instead of in the middle of a library where you have kids studying and kids learning how to read. That was the right space. When you ask for information and you're not getting it, it's a problem. When we're saying that we're providing youth programmings, but we're only providing the funding for the Y, that's a problem. Let's fund youth programming. Let's do that. We need to do that at our rec centers. You know what we need to get back to the basics. Remember when you used to grow up and you used to go to the gym at your local school? There was rec programs running out of that from the city of Winnipeg, because I was a product of that. And maybe I'm here because I was a product of that. So I don't understand that why we are changing the things that are working. Community connection space has been like, boom, it's been this wonderful thing. All of a sudden the funding's gone, but oh yeah, we're gonna change it when we know it's working, when we know the model works. So, yeah, I know I'm getting to the end. So I guess I'm feeling disheartened, Madam Speaker.
Councillor Reedy moves extension 2 minutes. All in favor? Contrary, carried.
I'm feeling like the money has left my community. And I'm feeling like my members of my community are not being heard. And I'm feeling like the aging of our community is not being dealt with, Madam Speaker. So I call and I ask all my councillor colleagues to really listen to what I'm saying here about the community connection space. It's a very little money in this big budget. And when you have two councillors that know this really well, please listen to them. When you have an overwhelming group of people coming forward that are saying this is the right thing to do, then maybe your thoughts are not right. Please listen to them. Take a step back. Thank you, Madam Speaker.